Welcome back, my probabilistically perplexed pathfinders. I'm your quantum superposed navigator, simultaneously lost and found across infinite realities. You're tuned into the Multiverse Employee Handbook, the only podcast that treats your sense of direction like a wave function waiting to collapse into actual location. Speaking of collapse, I'm happy to report that last episode's dark comet has finally left our IT department's server room, though it did file a rather pointed complaint about our lack of interstellar parking validation. Our automated response system, meanwhile, has started offering alternative routes through 11-dimensional space just to help employees avoid the morning rush hour. Though I should note its definition of alternate route sometimes involves quantum tunneling through the spacetime continuum and at least 3 parallel universes where cars never evolved past the horse-drawn paradox. But today, dear listeners, we're diving into something even more mysterious than Dave from accounting's current location in the multiverse. Quantum navigation, where you can't get there from here, becomes less of an excuse and more of a philosophical theorem. That's right. We're exploring what happens when Heisenberg's uncertainty principle meets Google Maps, and why sometimes knowing exactly where you are means having no idea how fast you're running late to that meeting. Our automated response system has taken a particular interest in this topic, having recently achieved a state of quantum localization so precise that it now exists everywhere in the office simultaneously. It's particularly proud of its new ability to attend every meeting without actually being present at any of them, a feat previously thought impossible outside of senior management. Now, gather round the quantum conference room, if you can find it without accidentally tunneling into last Wednesday. In the fluorescent-lit realm of Quantum Dynamics Incorporated's IT department, specifically in Server Room C, which existed in a quantum superposition of desperately needs upgrading and don't touch anything or it'll break, Julia, a new intern, was having what could charitably be called a navigational nightmare. It had started, as these things often do, with the square-haired boss materializing in her cubicle with a kind of enthusiasm that usually preceded catastrophe. "Julia!" he announced, his hair maintaining perfect cubic geometry despite Einstein's objections to its violation of space-time. "I've just come from a TED Talk about quantum something or other. We're going to revolutionize the office parking garage." Julia, who had only been an IT intern for 3 weeks but had already developed the 1,000-yard stare of someone who'd seen too many revolutionary ideas, looked up cautiously. "Sir?" "Quantum navigation." The boss's hair vibrated with excitement. "No more getting lost looking for parking spots. We'll use quantum things to make finding spaces more efficient. I've already ordered the system. It arrives tomorrow." "But sir," Julia attempted pulling up actual research papers on quantum navigation systems, "these technologies are still experimental. They require near-absolute zero temperatures and—" "Perfect," the boss interrupted. "The garage is already freezing in winter. We'll save on cooling costs." Before Julia could explain that winter in Toronto wasn't quite cold enough for quantum coherence, the boss had already drafted an all-staff email. Subject: Quantum Parking Revolution. From boss.momentum@quantumdynamics.com. To all.staff@quantumdynamics.com. Team, get ready for the future of parking. No more circling for spots. Our new quantum navigation system will tell you exactly where and how fast your car is going. Asterisk note: according to HR, we legally can't guarantee both simultaneously due to something called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. But that's just big physics trying to maintain their parking spot monopoly. Hashtag disrupt parking. Hashtag quantum leadership. Hashtag parking paradigm shift. The system was installed overnight, despite Julia's increasingly desperate warnings about quantum decoherence in macroscopic systems. By morning, the garage had achieved a state that physics textbooks would later describe as professionally inadvisable. Cars began arriving at their designated spots before they'd entered the garage. Dave from accounting's Toyota somehow ended up parked in 3 spaces simultaneously, all of them somehow being spot A137. The exit gate started displaying arrival times from next Tuesday. "Isn't it beautiful?" the boss beamed, watching as a Tesla Quantum tunneled through a concrete pillar. "We've achieved parking efficiency across all possible realities." That's when Julia noticed something alarming on her monitors. The quantum navigation system wasn't just affecting the garage. It was creating a cascade of localization errors that was spreading through the building's spacetime. The elevator now offered options for floors that wouldn't be built until 2047. The break room had quantum tunneled into last Wednesday. But it was the coffee machine, still quantum entangled from previous episodes' consciousness-achieving incidents, that gave Julia an idea. "Sir," she said, fingers flying across her keyboard, "what if we could make the system even more efficient by routing it through our existing quantum infrastructure?" The boss's hair perked up at the word efficient. Julia quickly rerouted the quantum navigation protocols through the coffee machine's neural network before he could ask for clarification. The effect was immediate. The coffee machine, with its already achieved quantum consciousness, began harmonizing the garage's wave functions. Cars settled into classically defined parking spots. The elevator remembered which floors actually existed. Dave's Toyota collapsed into a single space, though Dave himself remained in quantum superposition somewhere between the office and lunch. "Brilliant!" the boss declared, as if this had been his plan all along. "We've not just disrupted parking, we've achieved quantum coffee synergy. Get marketing on this immediately." And so, dear listeners, as we close the quantum garage gate on this tale, remember, in the vast parking lot of existence, sometimes the best navigation system is the one that knows when to collapse its own wave function. Though I should note that the coffee machine has since received both a Nobel Prize in Physics and a citation from the Department of Transportation. And that brings us to the fascinating physics behind why you can't actually quantum tunnel your way out of a parking ticket. Now that we've seen how quantum navigation can turn a simple parking garage into a localized apocalypse, let's talk about why finding your exact position in the universe is trickier than explaining to HR where you were during that missing week of quantum sick leave. Unlike traditional GPS, which relies on satellites playing an elaborate game of Marco Polo with your phone, quantum navigation taps into the fundamental fabric of reality itself. Think of it as the universe's own inertial guidance system. But instead of using a compass, it uses supercooled atoms doing a quantum choreography more precise than an accountant's spreadsheet formulas. The concept emerged from a simple problem. GPS signals are about as reliable as your manager's promises about quick 5-minute meetings. They can be jammed, spoofed, or blocked entirely. Particularly problematic when you're trying to navigate a nuclear submarine, or, apparently, find your assigned parking spot in a quantum-enabled garage. But nature, in its infinite wisdom and questionable sense of humor, provided a solution in the form of quantum sensors. By cooling atoms to near absolute zero, significantly colder than the office break room fridge after someone forgets to close it over a long weekend, we can detect the slightest changes in motion, gravity, and orientation. It's like having an infinite number of extremely precise gyroscopes. all spinning in quantum superposition until someone asks for directions. When we return from this brief quantum state transition, we'll dive deeper into the actual physics of these systems and why implementing them in a parking garage makes about as much sense as trying to solve a traffic jam with Schrödinger's cat. Stay tuned, my probabilistic pathfinders. Tired of knowing exactly where you are? Introducing Quantum Nav Pro, the only GPS that uses Heisenberg's uncertainty principle to make sure you're simultaneously everywhere and nowhere. Perfect for those days when you want to be absolutely certain you have no idea where you're going. Features include quantum superposition routing. Arrive at every possible destination except the one you wanted. Schrödinger's traffic updates. Is there a jam ahead? You won't know until you observe it. And our patented entangled ETA. Now you can be late to infinite meetings at once. Order now and receive our free quantum compass that points to every direction in the multiverse. Quantum Nav Pro. Because sometimes the scenic route includes other dimensions. Warning, may cause spontaneous quantum tunneling through toll booths. Developer not responsible for alternate timeline parking tickets. Welcome back, my probabilistically perplexed pathfinders. The fascinating world of quantum navigation begins with one of the coldest achievements in human history: cooling atoms until they're barely moving. We're talking temperatures around 1 microkelvin, just fractions above absolute zero. That's colder than the response you'll get asking for a raise during a recession.
We'll see.
At these temperatures, atoms behave less like particles and more like waves, exhibiting quantum properties that make them perfect for navigation. Enter cold atom interferometry. Imagine splitting an atomic wave in two, sending the parts along different paths, and then recombining them. Any differences in the paths, caused by movement or gravitational changes, create interference patterns more intricate than office politics. Think of it as nature's own motion detector. While your phone's GPS needs at least 4 satellites to tell you you're on the wrong side of town,
Hey, big boy.
quantum sensors can detect changes in position with accuracy down to a few nanometers. That's precise enough to measure the gravitational difference between your desk and the floor above, though still not precise enough to locate that missing semicolon in your code. The military's particularly interested in this technology for obvious reasons. When GPS signals can be jammed easier than your office's printer queue, having a navigation system that relies only on the laws of physics becomes rather appealing. Submarines, aircraft, and even spacecraft could navigate with unprecedented accuracy without external signals. But here's where it gets really interesting. Quantum accelerometers and gyroscopes don't just measure movement. They measure reality itself. By detecting minute changes in gravity and rotation, they can create a map of their surroundings more detailed than your company's org chart. These devices use something called atom clouds, which, unlike your data storage solution, actually work better the colder they get. The technology has advanced so rapidly that we can now trap and control individual atoms with lasers, using them as the world's most precise sensors. It's like having a compass that points not just to magnetic north, but to every possible direction in the quantum multiverse. Though I should note this still won't help you find that one conference room that seems to move between floors every week. But quantum navigation isn't just about knowing where you are. It's about knowing where you are in relation to everything else in the universe. The most fascinating aspect of quantum navigation isn't the technology itself. It's what it reveals about space, time, and our place in the universe. Remember how Julia's quantum parking system started affecting the building's space-time? That's not entirely science fiction. These systems are so sensitive they can detect variations in Earth's gravitational field caused by density changes in the ground beneath us. Consider space exploration. Traditional spacecraft navigate like ancient sailors, using stars and ground control's best estimates. But quantum navigation could revolutionize this by creating what scientists call quantum celestial maps, using quantum sensors to detect the gravitational signatures of planets and stars. It's like having a GPS system for the entire galaxy, minus the annoying recalculating voice. Recent breakthroughs at MIT and Stanford have shown we can miniaturize these systems significantly. While early quantum sensors needed a room full of equipment, we're now approaching devices the size of a microchip. Though I should note this still isn't compact enough to fix the square-haired boss's sense of direction. The real game changer lies in autonomous systems. Self-driving cars currently rely on a combination of GPS, cameras, and radar, all external inputs that can fail. Quantum navigation would give them an internal sense of position so precise they could drive through a snowstorm while calculating their position relative to the center of the Earth. But here's the philosophical quandary. The better our quantum navigation becomes, the more it reveals about the probabilistic nature of position itself. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle isn't just a mathematical inconvenience. It's a fundamental truth about reality. The more precisely we try to locate ourselves in space, the less we can know about our momentum. Consider the emerging field of quantum radar, systems that can detect stealth aircraft by entangling photons, or quantum matter wave sensors that can find underground structures by measuring microscopic gravitational variations. We're not just building better navigation tools, we're creating new ways to understand and measure reality itself. The future? Companies like Honeywell and Lockheed Martin are already developing hybrid systems that combine quantum and classical navigation. Imagine a world where getting lost is mathematically impossible, though knowing exactly where you are might just raise deeper questions about where you're going. As one physicist at DARPA recently noted, we're not just building better maps, we're redefining what it means to know where we are in the universe. Though I suspect she wasn't thinking about quantum-enabled parking garages when she said that. Well, my probabilistically perplexed pathfinders, we've reached the end of another quantum conundrum. Today we've learned that in the multiverse of navigation, every journey exists in a superposition of "you have arrived" and recalculating until someone collapses the wave function. We've discovered that quantum navigation, like Julia's ingenious solution, sometimes requires thinking beyond traditional dimensions. The coffee machine has since been awarded several patents for its quantum parking algorithms, though it insists on taking meetings only in superposition states. Dave from accounting's Toyota has finally settled into a single parking spot, though Dave himself remains quantum entangled with his lunch break across several timelines.
Whoa.
The square-haired boss has already moved on to his next big idea, something about quantum elevator optimization that has the physics department preemptively updating their resumes. Want to stay updated on our quantum corporate chaos? Visit us at multiverseemployeehandbook.com, where you'll find fascinating science news, deep dives into quantum mechanics, and our latest blog series, Parking Problems, A Quantum Perspective, now featuring the coffee machine's peer-reviewed research on multi-dimensional traffic flow. If you enjoyed today's journey through quantum spacetime, why not share it with a friend, colleague, or that guy doing circles in a Waymo? We're particularly popular among beings who exist in quantum superposition and autonomous vehicles questioning their path through life. Until next time, this is your quantum coherent correspondent, reminding you that in the multiverse of navigation, every wrong turn is simultaneously right in some other reality. Though that still won't convince the parking enforcement officer who exists in a stubbornly classical state.
Hello, this is Hannah from Riverside, Illinois. The Multiverse Employee Handbook was created by Rob Corrigan, is edited by Joseph Cooper, and narrated by David from 11 Labs. All science fact-checking is done by Wolf Edmonds. The Employee Handbook staff includes Hugh Mann, Dr. Eric Hale, and Miss Hanley. Please be sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes.